Mr. President, I hope that you and all the pages here, we have some new pages in the staff here. Everybody had a great holiday season. Everybody listening back home, watching back home in Alaska, around the country, also had a wonderful holiday. I certainly did. It's always great to be home in my state, spending time with family, my wife, my daughters, with friends, which to me is the greatest state and the greatest country in the world. And Mr. President, winter is a special time in Alaska. The sun may be low, or in some places it may not rise above the horizon at all. But there's a certain glow that comes with the snow. With that glow and the northern lights dancing in the sky, particularly in the interior, a place I'm going to talk about here in a minute, it's magical. So we want to ensure anyone watching, come on up to Alaska. You're going to have the trip of a lifetime. But Mr. President, as I've said so many times on the floor of the U.S. Senate, it's the people that make my state so special. Tough, hardy, resilient, people who have lived some of the most amazing, meaningful, purposeful lives, who have the wisdom and the character, the toughness, and yes, even the scars to prove it. Stories of character, stories of lives well-traveled, lives well-lived abound in my state. Last Saturday, in the great city of Fairbanks, Alaska, I had the great opportunity and honor to attend the 100th birthday party. I'm looking at the pages who all just said, wow. The 100th birthday party of a legend in Alaska. A man certainly of great stories, but also of heart, of patriotism, of everything that makes Alaska and America great. Now, as you know, Mr. President, I come down the floor nearly every week while we're in session to honor someone that I refer to as the Alaskan of the week, someone who makes our state and our country very special. And I want America right now, if you're watching on C-SPAN, in the gallery, the press, I want you to meet Urban Rahoi, our Alaskan of the week, a husband, a father, a veteran, a pilot, a hunting guide, a developer, a builder, just to name a few of his defining characteristics. Urban has lived a dozen lives, all in only one century. 100 years old. He helped save America, and he helped build Alaska. Save this great nation of ours, and build one of our greatest states. And he's our Alaskan of the week. And I believe he may even be watching in Fairbanks. I hope you are, Urban, in the Pioneer home there. Maybe with some of the Laundry House Gang members, maybe even my father-in-law, Bud, Craig Campo. I hope you're all watching right now. Urban has had such a full life that it's hard to know where to start. 100 years. But let me give you some of the highlights. He was born on January 7th, 1919, the day after Teddy Roosevelt died, in Iron Mountain, Michigan. He grew up during the height of the Depression, but Urban recently told a reporter with the Fairbanks Daily News Miner the Depression for him and for his family wasn't that bad. His family hunted, they grew their own food, they worked hard. He said, quote, "We had a garden and we had 100 rabbits." And in many ways, that's how they got through the Depression. He began to get interested in airplanes and in flying. And when he was just 15 years old, he took his first solo flight. 15. Solo flight. And he was forever hooked. He was also hooked on the love of his life, whom he met when he was 21 years old. Vienna, Vi, everyone called her, and they got married in 1940. In 1943, Urban joined the U.S. military during World War II, the Army Air Corps, and flew bombers in North Africa and Italy. From Italy, we would fly bombing missions into southern Germany, Austria, Romania, wherever they needed us. Dozens of bombing combat missions. And what did he fly? Appropriately, Urban Rahoi flew the B-17, also known as the Flying Fortress. Those airplanes stayed in the air even after some of the toughest battle, some of the most vicious flak, tough as can be, just like Urban. Again, B-17 pilot, World War II, part of the greatest generation that saved America. Saved this institution, among others, the United States Senate. And eventually, Mr. President, as it does, a certain kind of adventurous person, Urban heard the call of Alaska. And he flew to the state in a PA-12 Cub. He and Vi homesteaded on the Tanana River near the Richardson Highway and began to make a life for themselves in Alaska. And what a rich life it was. They began a family, eventually having 3 children, Rick, Eugene, and Holly. Urban also stayed active in the military. As a member of the Air Force Reserve's 449th Fighter Squadron in Alaska. He commanded the C-47 Squadron and co-piloted several historic military aircraft, including the North American F-82 Twin Mustang, the Lockheed F-94 Starfire, and the Northrop F-89 Scorpion. This is a great pilot for America. He began offering private flying services, and he also built 2 areas in terms of developments. Together, they made up these trailer parks, 172 lots. Urban designed the development of these areas, installed all of the electrical lines, the water lines, the septic system, all himself. Think about that. What American can do that today? He also built a lodge and an inn-holding in the Wrangell St. Elias National Park and Preserve. And if that wasn't enough, Mr. President, he became a big game guide in Alaska, running a successful big game guiding business, and he built Ptarmigan Lake Lodge, an inn-holding in Wrangell St. Elias National Park and Preserve. When Alaska became a state, guides were required to become registered, and they had registration numbers. Urban Rahoi was issued Big Game Alaska State Guide License number 1. Number 1, the first. All told, during his career as a pilot, he racked up an incredible 20,000 hours of flying. 20,000 hours of flying. That's probably older than some of you pages. He's seen so much. Nearly every part of Alaska. If someone's there, I've been there, he said recently, on all the flights he's taken to all over the great state of Alaska. In 2012, the FAA presented Urban with the Wright Brothers Master Pilot Award. And here's what the FAA wrote, quote, Urban has used his skill as an aviator to train airmen, fight a war for America, and maintain the safety standard in commercial aviation. He has rescued people in trouble and supplied people in Bush, Alaska with the necessities of life. He has contributed to the state of Alaska and provided many people a chance to see the beautiful wildlife and scenery of the great state of Alaska we all love, unquote. Mr. President, the party for Urban's 100th birthday last Saturday in Fairbanks was so reflective of the impact that he has had on his state, his community in Fairbanks, and of course, his country. Now, Fairbanks is a tough, tough place. I love Fairbanks. Fairbanks has been experiencing a bit of a cold snap. Last Saturday, at Urban's 100th birthday party, it was 30 below zero in Fairbanks. Dangerous temperature for some, but not for the people of interior Alaska who deal with that on a regular basis. And despite 30 below temperatures, hundreds of people from the interior of Alaska and beyond, from all walks of life, were there at the Pioneer Park Centennial Center to honor this legend, this great Alaskan and this great American. Family, friends, we even had a special guest. To the football fans watching know him very well. Former Miami Dolphins football player and Hall of Famer Larry Zonka was there to celebrate Urban's 100th birthday. Zonka had been sheep hunting at Urban's lodge, and the two remained very, very close friends ever since. One of Urban's goals is to be the first 100-year-old to participate in a snow machine race in Fairbanks, a race that Urban rides in every year. And Larry Zonka gave him an autographed Miami Dolphins football helmet to wear as the helmet when Urban participates in this race this year. There was a life-size cake with 100 candles, a slideshow of pictures of Urban and Vi at different phases of their lives. So many adventures, World War II, Alaska as a state. So much love, so much life, so many people celebrating this great American. Mr. President, I had the opportunity to talk a little bit about Urban at the birthday party last Saturday in Fairbanks. And I mentioned here was a man who had so many qualities: patriotism, service, sacrifice, perseverance, and yes, even tougher than Larry Zonka. Now, for the football fans watching, know that there are not many people in America who are tougher than Zonka. Urban is, and Zonka acknowledged this. The one person missing from this great celebration was his beloved wife, who passed in Urban's arms on January 3rd, 2010. 3 days before their 70th wedding anniversary. She was 92 years old. Vi's memory lives on in her 3 children, 7 grandchildren, 16 great-grandchildren, and 1 great-great-grandchild. And her memory lives on in Urban's heart. At the ceremony, my good friend who put it together, Craig Campo, was the MC of this wonderful birthday party. And he interviewed Urban. And towards the end of it, he asked him what the secret for such a long life was. 100-year-old. Urban said it could be summed up 2 words: my wife. Now, isn't that beautiful? America, isn't that beautiful? What a great man. What a great life. So Urban, here's to flying free, living well. Here's to the state and the country you love so much. Here's to being part of the greatest generation that saved America and built Alaska. And here's to the example you've set for all of us. Whether U.S. senators, whether pages, 100 years old, service to your country, dedication to your wife. Thanks for all you've done. Thanks for all you've done to protect and defend this great nation, to build our great state. And thank you, Urban, for being our Alaskan of the Week. From the floor of the U.S. Senate, happy 100th birthday. Mr. President, I yield the floor.